Good morning. Thank you for being here today. My job here today is to talk about data, but data are meaningless without stories. So I want to share a story with you first. A few years back, I was at a baby shower. It was a bright, sunny afternoon on a spring day, and the room was decorated with blue and white balloons and streamers. There were lots of treats and gifts, and a group of women were fussing over this mom-to-be. It was a typical baby shower with lots of joking and laughter. And then as we sat down after lunch and started talking, as the mom-to-be was opening her presents and taking out this one giraffe onesie after another, the conversation turned to what advice us experienced moms would give this new mom-to-be. Now, the last thing you have to say to a group of women is advice. Oh my God. All of us chimed in at once with no hesitation. Some advice was useful and serious, like don't let anybody's judgment change your choices as a mom. You want to work or stay at home after the baby is born, it is your choice. And it is okay. Other advice was useful but more lighthearted, like how to change diaper on that baby boy so that he doesn't get your face. Now I have 2 boys of my own, so I know a few things about that. Advice was flying all over the room until someone asked my friend, "What worries you about being a first-time mom?" My friend turned all serious, her smile gone, and she said, "My biggest worry is about bringing this black boy in this world." Those words sucked the energy out of the room until someone awkwardly changed the topic. But I sat there wondering why, during a time she should be excited and filled with joy, my friend was so worried. She's a college-educated, smart woman. I knew she would do all the right things she needed to do for her baby. She was even reading with him in her womb. Then why was she so worried? What was causing her to worry so much about her unborn child? As I would come to find out, she's not alone. African American parents routinely worry about their child's safety and success. And as we start looking at these numbers, we find out why they worry. Only 2 out of every 10 African American children are ready for school when they start school, and only 4 out of every 10 are reading on grade level by end of 3rd grade. African American boys are suspended at rates 5 times higher than white boys. Of course, this is local data, but it reflects, unfortunately, national data. And poverty alone is not the explanation. Even when we control for poverty, African American boys who are not poor fare worse than white children who are living in poverty. So just like nationally, right here in Montgomery County, race is a defining factor for a child's success in school and in life. See, this is why my friend was so worried about her unborn child. Of course, I know that all of us here, as leaders, educators, youth development professionals, we all believe and know two things. These outcomes are not a reflection of our children's abilities or their fault in any way. These outcomes are gaps in our systems and in practices that are not supporting all our children. I also know that we all believe two things: that our collective success as a community depends on all, not just some of our children succeeding. So, how do we move forward? How do we ensure that all our children are reaching their full potential? I know that the data are daunting. I know the gaps seem really wide, and I know that the disparities are deeply discouraging. However, when you look at the data up close, there is a silver lining, and that's what I want to share with you today. Looking at the data helps us reveal two key possibilities. Possibility one, that when we start looking at actual numbers of students, if we had 250 more Montgomery County children starting school ready for school, we will close the gap between white and African American children. Similarly, at third grade level, if we had 500 more children reading on grade level, we will close the gap between white and African American children. Imagine across the county, 500 more African American children reading on grade level takes away the gap that defines outcomes based on the color of our children's skin. And so we're talking about 500 countywide. At classroom level, we are talking about 2 to 4 children on average across the county, right? So this is more doable than it may seem when we first look at these daunting percentages. And then the second possibility these data reveal is that closing the gaps between groups of our children will help us improve outcomes for all our children. So children, if we close the gap in kindergarten between white and African American children, our overall county level proficiency rates, reading readiness rates, go up by 6 percentage points. Equally, when we close the gap between African American and white third graders with just those 500 more African American children, we increase our overall proficiency rates by 9 percentage points. Do you know how much increase we have seen in the last 5 years in those proficiency rates for our county? Not even 1%. But by closing the gap, we go up 9%. A rising tide will lift all boats. Please don't get me wrong. I am not suggesting that this is easy. I know that these data are a reflection of many challenging realities that are beyond our individual control. And like Robin said, the point is not for us to be blaming, shaming each other, but to look at it together. And I do believe that if intentionally we align our actions to work together and take Robin up on that challenge of taking one step forward, I do know that we can close these gaps and move all our children forward. Nelson Mandela once said, "Those who can't imagine change reveal the deficit of their imagination." not the difficulty of the change. I know right here in Montgomery County, we can imagine this change, we can implement this change, and we can achieve this change. Thank you. And I really hope you will be thinking about your one step as you go through and listen to some great speakers, our keynote and then our breakout speakers. We have a great agenda for you today. But it's not just the numbers. Like I said, there are always stories behind the numbers, and there are real children and students behind these numbers. So I want to now share with you a short video that was produced here locally, sharing the voices of some of our students. Thank you.